welcome to the back of my RV, my little craft space. Hello, everybody. It's the Reset Girl. I'm so happy to see all your little faces. It just makes my heart so warm and fuzzy to see all the new little faces in the chat room. Hello and welcome. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let me minimize this little window here so I can see all you guys. And hello. Okay, let me minimize this. Okay, this is going to be a little technically awkward. You guys are used to professionalism when it comes to my live streams. And I will just warn you now that I am running the show and I am not adept in any way with the technology. So I apologize in advance. And I beseech you and your graciousness. I'm really terrible at this. There's a whole lot of buttons that my husband has set up for me. Can I show you my little panel of buttons? They make everything run. I just have to remember which button does what, which camera to look at. I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm looking at myself instead of looking up there. So I am so delighted and happy to see you. It has been about 5 months since I have done a live stream. It has been about 10 months since I have uploaded a video to the Reset Girl channel. So you guys probably were, conducting your lives, moving on with with your lives, with your things, and saw a little blurb in your YouTube feed one day that said, the creative reset from the Reset Girl, and was like, oh, what has she been up to these days? I'll attend her little creative reset live. So thank you for saying yes. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. It has been too long. So I'm just so happy and delighted to see that when you throw a party, people will show up. Woo! Oh, yes. So exciting. Okay, so that's over. Woo. I wasn't sure what was going to happen there because, when you ignore your friends for a really long time, you just don't, there's not much hope that they're going to come when you put up the welcome mat. By the way, I almost put up the little, do you guys remember that really cute little graphic that I have with the little beam of light that shines into the sky, and there's the little golden scissors up there in the night sky? That was what I was originally going to use. And I was going to put, "You have been summoned." Wow, that sounds kind of rude and presumptuous. Like, maybe you should kind of warm them up a little bit before you're just like, "You've been summoned." I mean, I thought it was funny, and I figured a lot of you would get it because it was an inside joke. But then I thought, well, if some of you weren't there when the original joke was made, and you just get this thing out of the blue that says you've been summoned, is that, you know what I mean? It felt, I don't know. So I decided I'll wait on the crafty bat signal. I'll wait till we've gotten to know each other again. So you've been forewarned that I have that in my pocket, and I'm waiting for the right moment to spring that later. So I'm just so delighted to see so many faces on the Reset Girl channel that have popped up and are here. And so thank you so much for coming. That is just, my cup runneth over. So what are we doing here? What is the creative reset? Why are we all assembled here? So what I wanted to do, I actually wrote a little script. I am a classic over talker. I say a whole bunch more stuff than I intend. So I wrote something. So I hope you don't mind if I actually read it, because this way I'll stay in my lane, and I won't say things I didn't intend to say or over talk, and it's like I'm doing right now. So let me just make sure that I say what I intend to say first, and then we'll chit chat. So all my live streams over the last year, for the most part, they've really been exclusive to the Clubhouse, which is why you haven't really been seeing me. I think I did a few that were for like our spa day. I did a couple on here trying to kind of be like, hey, hi, I'm still alive. But I was really trying to like give the Clubhouse my whole heart, and try and use my newsletter to try and like come on into the Clubhouse, So I was trying to do that. So that's why I was not really as present on this channel. And so, but I have had a change of vision, a change of heart about that. So for the rest of the year, I'm going to be doing all of my live streams on the Reset Girl channel instead. So that is what I'll be doing the rest of the time here. So all the Clubhouse members will be watching my content here, my live streams here, as well as the broader Reset Girl community, because the more the merrier, right? And everybody's delighted with that. So and obviously, despite all of my good intentions and all the plans that I make, I'm never able to manage both platforms. I mean, several years have gone by. I make lists upon lists and plans. I have all these ideas, but I can never execute both the Reset Girl channel and the Clubhouse. It just never, ever works out. So I have to wave the white flag and just say, this is what I have to do in order to bring life back to this channel, because it is important to me. It has been important to me. So this is what we're doing. So and you can see that my poor little pocket art challenge, that that suffered. It was a casualty, so I wasn't able to keep that going. It died in week 14, I think. So there's more that I would like to offer the wider Reset Girl community, and so I want to focus this channel on the things that I love doing. So that's what I want to do here. So I've really been focused a lot on studying these last few years and pouring myself into the Clubhouse platform. And please hear me. I have no regret about that. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying, but that has been a singular focus for me. And so I've been really, on a personal level, I've been really contemplating and thinking about things just for me, myself, within my own little personal self. And I've kind of stepped back, and I've been seeing that in that, I've really lost my creative spark. It's kind of true, that expression, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I kind of feel like that's what's happened to me, and I've lost my creative drive, and I consider that a true gift. I really do. I think that's a gift. Some people feel, they feel a real need or a drive or something about using that. And that's why a lot of us were drawn into, say, the planner community. And then once you're in the planner community, it's really a fringe movement of being able to dabble into other communities. Most of us ladies, if you found your way into this community, you weren't just in the planner community, right? A lot of us you're kind of dabbling in the traveler's notebook community and using like art journaling. And you're also like, you were doing Listers Got a List, or you were doing scrapbooking, or, art journaling, or doing types of like working in like commonplace books, all different forms of stationery and creating in them. So it's obviously like something we all have in common is this need to be creative with paper. And some of us like, digital creating as well. So like that's a new little plateau for some of us. We like to mix it up and do different things. So that has been a lot of fun, hasn't it? And for a lot of us, it kind of reminds us of being young again, and that little inner 12-year-old that we all still have, that a lot of us probably loved coloring and colored pencils and our coloring books, and we loved collaging and some form of creativity was probably present in our younger years, or it's something we really wanted to do, but told ourselves we weren't good enough. Oh, is that just me? Um, some of us were drawn to art and taking lessons or classes. I always took art classes when I went to school. So those are things that, there's just those things, paper crafting. I am a paper crafter at heart. That's the little genre that I love. Just cutting up paper and pasting paper together, as you will see me do today. If that's all I do, that's just so satisfying. And it's funny to me, and now I am going off track a little bit, but it makes sense. When I think about some of the workshops I've taught, it's kind of funny that I like jokingly tell ladies, like, all we're really going to do today in my workshop is we're going to cut paper and paste it together. And these are at, these are at stores where like people like Amy Tangerine have taught at, like people that are legitimate, scrapbooking type faces and names, and, the names of like that have their name on like collections and stuff. So, which I got to have my name on a collection that was so legit. But then when I come in there, I'm like, yeah, we're just going to be pasting paper together. And that technically is what we did. But I love that. And yet that simplicity of pasting paper together, you can still have a monumentally beautiful, beautiful piece of creativity that you put together that didn't exist before you put it together. That's a phenomenal thing. And I think sometimes in all of our busyness and our adulting and all the stuff that you have to do and our task lists and our check off I got to do and the kids and the laundry and all that stuff, that you forget about the stuff like your ability to bring paper together with a glue stick, and that it can be such a joyful thing. And that in itself is self-care. Self-care doesn't have to be a sheet mask. I love a good sheet mask. Lord knows I do. But it is a form of self-care. You're nurturing a special gift that was placed in your little heart. And I think a lot of us, when we were kids, we colored joyfully. We colored, we pasted, we did all those things. And we did not concern ourselves with the things of this world. And I don't know that we, as children, concern ourselves too much with what other kids are doing. I think that we are more joyful and absorbed in our projects. And I don't think that we're as absorbed with comparison and all those things that we do to ourselves as we get older. And then we begin to do that to ourselves, as adults. So I think that becomes kind of problematic, and it kind of steals our joy. We create a lot of challenges and barriers to ourselves. We tell ourselves, well, I don't have time, I don't have space, I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot of things that we place in front of ourselves. And if, that's really one of the things I wanted to kind of, I don't know, talk about or confront, if you will, gently, lovingly in this series, perhaps, is just to to challenge what we're saying to ourselves. Because, and this is not the first time I've ever talked about this, because I actually went back on my channel. I don't really do that much, to be honest with you, but I went back and I listened to my old self. Like 7 years ago in 2017, I actually talked about what to do when you don't feel inspired to craft, and what are some of the things that we say to ourselves. And I listened to my 7 years ago self give myself some very good advice. So I was like, interesting. There's some things I said then that they still are true today. And that's what I would tell myself today. So it was just very interesting. And that was before I had already decided I was going to do the creative reset. So it was really fun that I found that video, that live stream, and heard myself confirm some of the same advice I was planning on sharing throughout the life of this series, however long it lasts. And Vanessa, that's so sweet. She says, I still watch your old videos when I need inspiration. Well, someone's watching my old videos, because I still see the little views. So thank you so much, because they're not short. One of these days, I am going to go back, now that I'm learning how to use technology like a big girl. I'm going to go back and start taking snippets of some of the things I've done and my little projects that I've done. And I'm going to start making small, not shorts, Okay. Hear me now, not shorts, but just smaller, bite sized little videos. You know, I can't seem to make them, but I think I can edit them down into just having some nice little bite-sized shorts because I think we need more of those in our life. And I don't know how to create them, but I do think that going back and editing is something I can definitely do. All right, getting back on track. So, in my little personal journey that I've been very recently on, I see that there's some other parts of my message about being the reset girl that that I was for like the last 10 years. The last 10 years, 10 years ago, I started this officially started the reset girl. It's still relevant. It's still relevant because that's really essentially who I am. I mean, I have to really admit that that is who I've been. I'm a person who constantly resets my life. When I eventually realized I don't really like, I don't like where I am. I don't like where I work. I just don't like my circumstances. And I've come to a point where I just can't tolerate or handle something. I will fix it. I will either fix it or I'll fix myself. So I'll change something. I can't, I'm not one to tolerate something too long before once I recognize I can fix this, I can change it, or I can, go in a different direction. So, I think in this season that we just started, this is the spring, it's the season of newness. I think this is a great time to kind of, to embrace the reset and make this platform a place to kind of bring forth this little journey I've just started. And because I've really come to realize that no matter what I do, I can't really get away from being the reset girl. I mean, I thought I was going to attempt a rebrand and everything, but essentially who I am at my heart and what I think is really, I think that's an important message. No matter what other endeavors you you embrace or put your heart into, whether that's studying the Bible, walking with the Lord, embracing your career path, your home life, your children, your family, all of those things that people prioritize and choose in their lives. Whatever it is you do, you're still this core person, that your decisions and everything you're doing, there's filters that you have whatever you're looking through, this prism that you look through that helps you make those decisions, and you're still that core person. And I realize that is how, I mean, either how we're wired, how we kind of we can fix ourselves to a certain extent, but it is essentially how I've been. So I come by that honestly. I just I just do. So being a reset oriented person is who I am, and so is being creative. I'm bringing those two things together with this series as I kick it off. So I really want to kick off a series about creativity as a topic. Notice I said creativity, not crafting. I feel like crafting always kind of scared me and it put this pressure on me. But when I say creativity, I feel like that's so much more freeing because that could be a discussion. That could be so many things. I just feel like it's more of it's just an elevated topic. It's just so much more encompassing. When I think about it, crafting, and I'm not, please hear me. I'm not trying to sound negative here, but when I hear crafting, it sounds like a hobby, whereas creativity feels like it's like a mindset. It feels like a whole expression. It feels like this gift. It feels like this whole way you look at things. I feel like it's this so much bigger, I mean, you can open the Bible and see the beginning of the story of our whole, the whole world. I mean, that's how it's depicted. Um, it just feels like such a big thing. And so crafting can be like, woodcraft. It can be paper crafting. It can be, you're crafting with fabric. And these are all very amazing abilities and skills and stuff. But when we talk about creativity, I wanted to give it kind of a really special elevation to you so that you would kind of appreciate your abilities and not just kind of think of it as, oh, it's just a hobby I have. Because sometimes I notice women have a way of, they kind of shrink that down within their thoughts. Like you feel guilty about the money you spend and the things you have. And it's this little thing there's a little bit of guilt. And I know that some of us have a little too many things and maybe that contributes to it. I totally get it. But there's a little bit of this, like, I don't know. There's a difference between this woman that feels like she's crafting and a woman that feels like she's creating. You know, I don't know. That's what I want to. That's what I hope to impart upon you. And I had to. I don't necessarily embrace it all myself yet, but I want to see if we can do that together on this little series. Is try to see ourselves as creators and not just crafters. So that's. So I'm preaching to myself as well right here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to nurture our gifts, because that's why you're on this channel. That's why you subbed in the first place, is because I was doing things like Lister's Got a List, which sadly I personally only did it really one time, but then I kept, putting out that challenge for everybody else. And that's a story in itself that I could talk about. What happens when you have something you love joyously, but then you turn it into something that becomes a have to. I mean, instantly it's like, womp. I feel like I have so many things like that. And maybe you do too, where you got real excited about something and you bought all the things for it and then it just kind of fell flat and you're not sure why. So what is that about? And how can you resurrect joy for something that you once really loved and you don't now? Maybe it's time to reset. And, is there something else you could love differently? These are, I think, great topics of conversation to have about how do we find our thing? And that is what reason why I put a poll in the chat room for you to just even think about that for a moment, because I asked this in the clubhouse, which is our membership, by the way, is also open now all year long, by the way. So I asked that there. I didn't give the exact same options that I did here. I actually thought of a couple better ones. So what people largely responded to, and did I say, what, in the clubhouse, I made the answers open-ended. That's what it was. So they weren't pigeonholed like I did to you guys. They could just say whatever. So the most common responses were finding time to craft. What's your biggest frustration? Finding time to craft. Don't have space or storage for crafting supplies, and feeling guilty for playing versus working when you do have time. So even when you did have time, then you felt kind of bad that you were choosing to play versus work. So that was interesting. And I totally can relate to that feeling, like you're still not using your time wisely. So I made this poll here, and I would love for you to click on whatever, if any of those resonate for you. And if not, you can certainly let me know in the chat room, because the chat rooms stay intact, and then I can go and look through there. And I see so many of your sweet little comments, you guys. I just thank you so much for, again, being here. And I see so many little faces I haven't seen in so long. I just want you to know, normally I would be like going through the chat room and saying hello individually to every single person, but then we would we would be here a lot longer. So I just want you to know, I see all your I see so many little faces, and I just thank you so much for being here. So, yes. So please let me know, in the chat, if your answers were not found in that poll. You can let me know, what frustration or challenge you feel when it comes to creating crafting. I think for some people, they might feel like they have too much stuff. There's a ton of things on Pinterest. tons of photos of like well organized craft spaces. Like I personally have a very curated Pinterest account if you want to check it out. And I have a whole thing uh, of craft, what beautifully organized craft spaces. And I have thought about that over time. And I'm thinking to myself, like, who are these women that have these just very large spaces full of supplies? And I say this is not judgment. Okay. I have recently been thinking to myself, and this comes from somebody over time, I have realized that I don't really think I'm a crafter. I don't think, really don't. If I had not gone this direction and chosen to do like the Reset Girl with this whole crafting component, I don't think I would be a crafter. I don't think I would have all of this stuff if this wasn't forcing me. Because when I did buy things before I ever was doing Instagram, before Instagram existed, I did have like this whole little cabinet, and it was full of art journal, like mixed media supplies. That was what drew me in. But I never used any of it. Didn't use any of it. I didn't know how. And then every time I'd watch a video on YouTube, it seemed so complicated that then I instantly just told myself, oh, if I can't do that, not that I was consciously telling myself that, but I would get this feeling like it seems so complicated. If I can't bust out pictures like they do, I just don't even want to try. And yet I couldn't let go of the things because I wanted to have all those things. Because one day I would be one of those mixed media artists because the stuff they do is so beautiful. I wanted to be like that. I wanted to have that life. I wanted to teach workshops. Like I had this whole vision. It was my fantasy self. And then I started thinking about it. Those craft rooms and all the supplies, for me, it was my fantasy self. But reality has shown me that is really not who I am. So Benita says, my challenge is getting in the mood to craft and be creative. So that right there is what I would say is exactly why I am not a crafter, as I often do not feel like I am in the mood to do those things. If I was not doing this live stream today, you would not find me here making what I'm going to make today. I would not have been prepping and printing out honeys and doing all these things. Would not be a normal choose to do thing. I make stuff like more in a have to do way. So like if I'm going to do a project for the Reset Girl, the First Love Club, or making a gift, those are there. That's a have to do. It's not that I hate it or I don't want to do it. I do want to do it. But there's always like this kind of like a little bit of a pressure to do it. You see what I'm saying? And maybe that's true of you too. You signed up for a crop. You'd prefer to make a card versus buy the card. You want to make the invitations or make the little favors for a wedding or a baby shower. That's when you want it. Your gifts are being called into action, right? How many of us will absolutely make the things for a party or an event because we know we have the gifts to do that versus go buy it from Walmart like everybody else would do? That's one of those. We're kind of goaded into it versus would you really be sitting there on a Saturday just making 30 little things because you love it? Probably not. The thing with like the traveler's notebook and Lister's got a list, like those are kind of like, I feel like those are the fun excuses we have to craft, the little challenges, the little joining into a fun activity that others are doing, and then you can share your pages with each other. That's why I think those things are so popular, is because they're giving you that opportunity to like have the excuse. You signed up to be kind of pressured, like a social pressure to do it. It's kind of an accountability to do it because you volunteered yourself to do it. And I think that it kind of takes that, I'm not wasting my time. I said I would do this thing. Am I wrong? Do you feel like that a little bit? Like that's how you get kind of invested in those challenges. And then now you have the ability to enjoy it because it feels a little bit like, well, I agreed to do this. I said I would do it. So now I'm not wasting time. I'm fulfilling my kind of an obligation. And maybe it's a little bit more subtle than that, but I kind of feel like that's what's been so wonderful about having photo challenges. Those are the things I loved, was photo challenges. And when I think about like how I expressed my creativity, how I started out on Instagram, it was the photo challenges. That is how my little Instagram account started growing, was joining into photo challenges. And they were planner related. I used to do all of the Planner Girl photo challenges. I would drive home from work, still in my work clothes, and pull out all my little props and start laying them out on the ground, like out on the balcony of my apartment, and start styling all my photos. I loved it. It gave me such joy. And I look back on that and think to myself, that was creativity. I was not crafting anything. That was creative. That was fun for me. And maybe that would be fun for you. Maybe that's a form of creativity that's not really crafting, but it's creative. It doesn't involve buying a bunch of supplies and then having these things hanging around you. Maybe it's, I mean, everybody has a smartphone these days. You see what I'm saying? There's so many things that are creative that if you think outside the box a little bit, that don't necessarily have to do with creating paper or creating, creating anything really. For those of you who feel very compressed with space, I mean, you're talking to me, I'm in the back of the RV. So I understand space restrictions. The RV has ebbed and flowed, and how much I was looking at that video from 7 years ago, and I had a lot of art supplies back here. I do not have all of them anymore. I have very much simplified, very much condensed what I have. And most of the things I have now are, they're in smaller containers. I have just very much condensed. And I could still condense more because quite honestly, there's whole things like bins, some little suitcase bins that I haven't even reached into. So like if I were being even more honest with myself, I could probably ditch 2 whole bins worth of stuff that I haven't even used. So it's amazing to me, how productive you can be with a lot less stuff than you realize. And sometimes maybe we just get used to saying things to ourselves. I just don't have time. I just don't have space. I just don't. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to be mean, because I know that some people have genuine challenges, and I'm not trying to be judgy or anything. I'm just saying it's like anything else we say to ourselves. Sometimes if someone drills down a little bit on what you're saying to yourself, they might ask you, well, how are you spending your time? Let's do an audit of how you're spending your time. And then they might say, well, that's interesting. You've spent 30 minutes scrolling here. You were doing a whole lot of scrolling or watching TV, and then you can legitimately say, well, I wasn't in the mood. Right. And I think that then you would have to ask yourself, well, what are you watching? Because honestly, what you're feeding yourself, what you're putting in, your input of things, there's a lot of stuff to watch that's super negative, and it does not feed and nourish your soul. It does not inspire creativity. It's not going to make anyone want to go make and create beautiful things. There's what do they call it? Doom scrolling. Those are habits that can be broken, and you can stop doing those things. And a magical thing happens when you stop feeding yourself the negativity. An amazing thing can happen when you feed yourself things that make you grow, and that's what I mean. Like, that's a choice. And then you find yourself not really saying as much that I don't have something, because maybe you made a different choice. Again, that may not apply to every single person. Some people are truly in a very, very busy season. They have a certain type of job or a certain type of family dynamic. They could be taking care of children and aging very sick parents. I know that as Gen Xers, we're in a sandwich generation. So some of us are taking care of grandchildren and aging, dying parents at this stage in our lives. So that's legit. I know there's a lot of people who are facing horrible, horrible health issues. So please hear me. I'm not trying to minimize those things. I'm not also not speaking to everybody in that category. There are people who are not living that life and are still possibly saying those things to themselves. So it's just, it's no different than when we say, well, I can't lose weight, or I can't do this, or I don't have time to do that. It's the same principle. I do the same thing. I'm no different. We all do that. So it's just, right, Justine? She says, sometimes you just have to start. So Margaret says, I try to only joy scroll. That's so true. You know what I did? Here's an idea for joy scrolling as an example. I started a whole new YouTube account one time. And how you start a new YouTube account is you start a new Gmail, like a new Google account. So you can create a whole new Google account, just make up a Gmail account, and it attaches to a Google account. And once you have that, you can set up a new YouTube. And then you're fresh. And then you just watch a very specific genre. And YouTube's algorithm is very, very sensitive. So be careful what you watch on that channel, but you can very much make it very, very narrow. So sometimes I will toggle. You can easily switch back and forth between YouTube accounts, and you can watch certain types of genre on one channel and switch to another account to watch an entirely different genre. And that way you keep your channels very clean and separate. So if I want to just watch creative, inspiring, if I want to be in that zone, that's the channel I'll watch. It's actually attached to the Reset Girl. So that channel, I'll just be getting stuff that's very specific to that. It has a lot of the ambiance videos where you're listening to the pretty music and seeing a really pretty scene. So there's certain types of content that will feed in there, and you're not exposed to anything negative. And the way you keep that clean is by clicking those 3 dots and clicking on that and saying, not interested. Get this out of my feed. So you are the boss of you. You can control that. And then you can tell it, I don't want this. I'm not interested in this channel. That's another option. And you can keep your feed very clean and tight. Just that's all I want to see. And you gotta be on top of it, because every now and then YouTube wants to play games and they want to put a little something in there. Are you sure you want to watch? You don't want to watch this? And you just tell it, no, I do not want to watch this. So that way you can keep a nice, clean channel to get yourself in a nice, happy headspace. And maybe you spend more time on that channel, and that's just what you spend more time there. If you're gonna watch YouTube, I'm just using that as an example. And if you find yourself seeing a little bit too much negativity somewhere, then stay off that place, stay off that platform, take it off your phone so you're not tempted to look. There are more and more people breaking that habit and getting off of social media, which for our generation should be easier, but it's because we lived without it for the majority of our youth and our adult lives. We just didn't have it. It's really interesting to see how many kids in the Gen Z generation are actually choosing not to have it, choosing to delete it. I'm really surprised and impressed by that. Honestly, that's really been quite inspiring, to be honest with you. So, so putting things in there's a lot of wonderful artists and creators that make things that just listening to people talk about their process. There's people who do urban sketching. That is a little category I love watching. People do that. Sit in a cafe and they'll sketch what they see outside the window, they'll sketch a scene inside the little cafe they're sitting in. They're absolutely amazing how many people on YouTube make content like this. That is incredibly inspiring. So that's just, I'm just throwing that out there as an idea of things that you can be filling up your little creative bucket versus stuff that is just that drains you. There's just very draining, and you're not forced to watch draining content. So there's no one putting, hold it. What is that? They're not strong arming you to watching it. So having said all that, the taking the time to answer this little poll question, it will just give you, let me see, 56% of you said that you lack time to do it. So the question is, and I'm not saying that crafting or creating needs to be done on a daily basis, but even if it was done like you had like a little craft time or creative time once a week, can you make a once a week time for yourself, or every other week? Half of you said that you lack time to do it. So that is I'm going to start creating here now. So that would be my challenge to you, is to ask yourself, can I schedule a once a week or every other week time with myself that I will do a little creative session? Knowing that date with yourself is coming up, you might spend some time. Now I have these things exist already for me, but I have built some Pinterest boards, and I can show you how to do this as part of this little series. I would like to make the Creative Reset a series and kind of break down many different ideas to show you how to do these things. If you don't already have them, this is what I talked about in 2017. I actually showed how to do it in the video, was building yourself a whole Pinterest board, and you can make sections and everything of the different types of things that you are interested in, whether that is sketching or doodling or paper crafting, because crafting does not have to involve a ton of supplies or creating. It could be a sketch pencil and a book, things that you haven't tried before, things that they don't have to involve a lot of supplies. So if that's one of your concerns, there are other things you can do to create that are very small, that many people travel with a backpack and they have a small little set of like watercolors and a traveler's notebook. So space restrictions could be one of your least concerns for some of the types of creativity out there. That's the good news. So when we're talking about time, you could be utilizing your Pinterest board to start filling up your creative cup and getting some inspiration and ideas, so that when your creative date comes around, you might feel a bit more stimulated to sit down and make it a special time. So you have your special something to sip. You have your special music. For some of you, you love like energetic music. Have a playlist ready to go, something that you treat yourself to. You only listen to this music when you do your creative thing. That's what I do. Like with working out, I only have like doing walking or anything. I used to have this rule with myself: you only get to listen to this playlist if you go for a walk. So to goad yourself into that practice, you could do the same thing. Your favorite songs, your favorite this or that, you put together, and this becomes part of the whole. It's an experience you're putting together, something that gives you joy and you'll look forward to. So this isn't supposed to be grueling and I have to do this. This is not like doing the laundry. This is a fun thing. So you want to treat this like, fun experience, and try something you haven't tried before, just to see what you're capable of. I did that with a little sketchbook and some charcoal pencils, just to see like, well, what happens if I try and sketch something on my desk? I was not I just had a little sketchbook and some pencils. And that became very pleasant. In the evening, I would put on one of those really fun, like lo-fi playlists and something to sip. And then I would do a little sketch every evening. You might do that more spread apart, but you see what I'm saying? Like, so those half of you, the 57% of you who are saying, I don't have time. I challenge you to try a once a week or every other week little time with yourself that you make, like a date. This is all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be the messy projects. It could just start out simple. You're trying a new thing where you're trying to set a habit. So don't pick your messiest projects, please. Try something, ease in and make it simple. Pick simple things, paper crafting, paper, scissors, and this collaging. Make yourself I'm going to pick some projects to do on this channel that are simple, so that you're picking simple things to work up to. Okay. So because you're trying to catch the joy here. Oh, this is a joyful thing. I'm really enjoying this. So you look forward to doing it, because as soon as you start overcomplicating it and making it, oh, it's so much work to get all my stuff out and then put it all away, you're not going to want to do it. And you're going to start telling yourself, I don't have time to pull all that stuff out and put it all away. So please, my sweet friends, please do not pick the most complicated, messiest, needs all the supplies necessary projects to do when you're saying I don't have time. Pick simpler projects to baby step your way into making this more of a habit. That's my challenge. That's my creative reset challenge to you. Maybe next time I'll have a printable. All right. I think I have beat that one into the ground. Okay. So yes, this will be an ongoing series, because I really do want to encourage people to be trying. But as I have been with all of my camps, retreats, all of my projects, I'm a tough love person. I want you to enjoy and utilize your gifts, because I've seen extraordinary work. I've seen extraordinary, beautiful projects and things you guys have been capable of. And all over the years, this is a very wonderful creative community. So to hear you say, I don't have time, I just we'll just try to improve that. We'll try to improve that attitude. There, exactly, Hannah. Thank you. She says, I love the scrap journal you made in the layering videos of Wanacraft for a project to dip in and out of without too many supplies. Hannah, thank you. I'm sure I have that. I actually kept one little bin of some of the things I have made. I keep them as inspiration for myself, and I flip through them to remind myself of things I've made, to see like to re-inspire myself and go, I want to redo this. But Hannah, I know exactly which one you're talking about. So yes, I will pull that one out in another episode, and I will show you an example of something simple, like a bullet journal. I think that's what it's made in, an A5 bullet journal. And something that is delightful. I find delightful. You may hate it, but I find delightful. But you can find something else similar that you do like. And it's practical, because you can turn it into a notebook or a diary or a journal or something you can use on a practical level, which is what I did. I just kind of decorated a bullet journal in advance, so for me to start journaling in it. So keeping it simple. Thank you, Miss Betsy. She says it's true. Keep it simple, sweet. Keep it simple, sweetie. Exactly. All right. So there's 3 things. I already covered one of them. So now I'm running into my allotment of time for crafting, because I was going to do a hard stop on the show, keep it to 2 hours each time. So whatever I make, that's going to be my motto. My plan is to make some things. Whatever I make, I make. The ones that, whatever I make and I really, really love, That's what I'm going to photograph. And that will become the printables that the Lucky Dip. I have a little thing called the Lucky Dip delivery. If you're from the UK, you know what that means. For those of us who are all American, a Lucky Dip is like the Cracker Jacks prize. You know how we get the little packet and rip it open? So in the UK, they call it a Lucky Dip. Like you just kind of reach in and grab your prize. You don't know what it is. So the pillar members of the clubhouse, they get a Lucky Dip delivery where I give them printables that I have made, or it's my artwork that I photographed and give them as it's a printable version of it. So I wanted to use my time here to make something, and that's what they're going to get. But I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. Maybe I won't love everything I make. I don't know yet. So I won't say because I want it to be somewhat of a surprise to them. And also in the description box of this live stream, I just wanted to give you a heads up. There are 3 products we put on sale in case you had missed out on them. There are 2 playbooks from 2019 and 2020. Both from the spring. One of them has 2 kits with it, and they have been steeply discounted. So they are both available. And the spring edition of our Faith Smash pages. So those are all linked in the description box of this live stream. And that's it. Okay, so I am ready to craft. So if you're ready, hi, Miss Bonnie. So there you go. So I just Halia or Halia says, I love the gray hair. That is from COVID. Well, COVID didn't give me gray hair, but the COVID season, I decided to go gray. So I like to call it silver. I decided to become Silver Vixen. Bonnie, good to see you. All right. So, thank you, Susan. Well, I'm glad. For those of you who needed to hear this, I'm glad you're hearing this. I'm glad. Okay. Now, here's what I got going. So pre-show, I cut out a bunch of honeys because they are my muse. And there you go, Margaret says silver hair rules. So I have some honeys because I love them. And I had in mind what I wanted to craft today. I wanted to make some artwork that you could put on the wall, like an inspirational print. I wanted to make some like inspirational art, I guess. So hey, Dion, let me see here. What do I need to do? I need to look at my top-down camera. Okay, so I don't know where these came from. I really thought they were from the Harmony retreat, but they are not. So, okay, let me see. Nope, that's not the right camera. Just a moment. I just need to figure out my cameras. Did that help? Okay. One more. There we go. I did it. Okay. So these are some really good little cards that we had. Looking at the colors, I really thought these were Harmony, but I couldn't find them in any of the Harmony artwork, so I don't know. What consumes your mind controls your life. Protect your peace. An overwhelmed mind does nothing. And then forgive yourself for what you didn't know. Oh, did I need that at just the right time? Oh my goodness. So, these really inspired me. I've actually been keeping them on my desk and looking at them every day. So, just whatever one is sitting out front. So anyway, that inspired me. And I thought, you know what? I used to love putting, little quotes on my wall. So I wanted to make some inspirational honey art. I thought that would be kind of fun. So let me make this less zoomed in. Okay. So this is what I did. I went through all my, some of my stuff and found some honeys. This doesn't feel like all of them. I think they're sandwiched in here. And then I went through my paper because I love to find honeys and then paper to kind of match them up with stuff I think they would look good with. And then kind of gave, a little idea of what might look good with what. The girls in the teal dresses, teal is just such a bomb color. It's my absolute favorite. So everybody who's wearing teal, I usually give them, they usually get precedence. This lovely lady, I think this is Diane Carroll. I pulled out some interesting paper stuff that I thought was like, would look really good either with teal or the red, because they all kind of have different things. This girl, let me pull this one out. I liked this blue. These elements, this is actually how she was on the page. Her arms cut off. She doesn't have legs, so it looks kind of funny. Let me move this up a little bit. So I was wanting to see what had happened if I recreated the page that she was in, including the little size measurement thing and everything, as if she were still attached to that page and what it would look like on a different background. I'm not sure that I love it. It does seem a little odd. I was going to put like a quote. So I don't know that I love it as much as I thought I would. So I'm going to set her aside. So my plan was to pull some girls out here, arrange them on a background that I would choose for each one, and then come up with some kind of element, to kind of put on the background in some kind of pattern, and then to put a quote, the inspirational quote. So that was my plan. Does she look amazing on that background? OMG. So here's an example of contrast. So this color blue always looks amazing when you put it against like a pink or anything in the pink reddish family is amazing. This is an example of something that's more tonal. So she's tonal. She sort of blends. She's in harmony, in other words. So you have something that's completely contrast and then tonal. But see how either one is still still looks amazing. Now, this would be not as an amazing choice because she's actually not in harmony. This pink is not the same type of pink. It's actually in a completely different pink family. So she's not rocking this. She would be way better on something else. So I'm just giving you an impromptu little lesson. But this is what I always love doing, was showing you guys the magic of paper choices. So I would put Miss Diane on possibly something like that, this is one of my favorite crepe paper patterns. It's actually the back side of that brick paper is this one. Now I love that. I think that she looks stunning. Another paper this is a Vicky Booten paper. I don't know that she would look, let me see. Here's the thing. I'm not sure about the color of her dress, but the position of her body, it's like she was born to be in this, with this picture, with this paper. Look at the angle of her, how do I explain this? Like the angle of her body, the way she's standing. I don't know. Is it just me? Am I imagining that? Wow. The pink of her dress though just doesn't feel like it's a perfect fit. What I thought she would look great is on this one. This is another crepe paper. I thought she would look good on this open road because she'd be like standing like this amazing statue. She's standing on the highway. I love this. I love putting a honey on this highway. I've done it quite a few times. She is ginormous. But it's like she's on it, right? Kathleen says she looks like a superhero. She looks like she's walking down like a runway. I kind of like this one, to be honest with you. It reminds me of is it surreal? The surrealistic is that a word? Surrealistic? It's like a surreal type picture. And I think that we discussed surreal artwork during one of the camps because I was showing you guys that in one of my sessions. I was showing you how I was kind of I was showing you how I was demonstrating that style. Maybe in the last camp, the flourish camp, possibly. Anyway, I like this. She looks like she's coming down a walk in a runway. Diane Carroll was, yeah, she was, I think she deserves that runway. She was, all right. Then we have this girl. I have used her before. I've used both of these ladies before in much smaller scale. So I love her position. She is fantastic for these like 6x4 formats because she covers so much real estate. Um, Not a fan of that paper, so that's a no. Um, Teal looks awesome with red. That's that's a given. Um, Not sure about that. This paper is interesting. This is another Vicky Booten paper, and I don't know. I got it. What is this? 2020. I It reminds me of my layering circles, which is why I got it. But I find myself never reaching for it. It's very busy. So I'm not sure if my idea was I'll just punch the circles out and use them, but as like a whole collection, like nothing stands out. She totally just sort of blends right in. So all I'm thinking is my intent must have been to punch the circles. So as an example, one way of breaking this up is to half and half when something is just way too patterny. One of my tricks from back in the day was to sort of put a honey down the center to sort of break things up. But even when I do that, this is still like a lot. That's a lot. So again, not, she's not popping. Yeah. Um, Interesting. Yeah, I think I would like to try just punching these circles. I think that they would be less work. Um, Speaking of less work, my little circles, these are my Cori's curated circles. These are delicioso. These are probably in my top. If I had to be on a deserted island, these would be going with me. If I could have no other crafting supplies, these would make it into my top 5. So these are luscious glossy stickers because I love a layering circle. These are a foundational sticker. So these are in the sticker shop. Mr. Crafty just brought them in here to me to show you guys. He's like, here, look. Oh, by the way, speaking of our sticker store, Mr. Crafty and I went through our stickers and we made an edit. So we're making edits to it. I really want to keep our stickers into 2 categories, just 2. That's it. So there's going to be a Bible frosting category, and I'm forgetting the name that I came up with. So I don't want to spoil it because I really want to roll it out in a proper launch. But there's another essentials category. And these are like my favorite, always will craft with, like the vintage tape, my I'm trying to remember the stickers I always reach for. Ones I always reach for. These like the honeys, like the honey halfsies. These are stickers I always craft with. Those stickers. So the Bible frosting and the Cori always crafts with stickers. Those are the 2 types of stickers and the only type of stickers that will be like classic, always on the like always available. Well, let me say, I'm sorry, not always available, like always in stock, but that's what we want to hone in on, focus on in the, yes. And yes, all of those are in. So I'm just not remembering everything. So that will be our new attitude when it comes to stickers is just, it's not throwing everything, all the kitchen sink at the truck. It's the carefully curated, the stuff that I personally love. That's the Cori personally loves stickers. Okay. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to ditch this one because this one is definitely not making it. And I want to start with the paper that I want to start building with first. And I think when I was playing this little game earlier, I think it was coming down to, see, even she would look good on that too. That's another tonal and contrast. So there's like a really tiny, tiny little polka dot on this, and then it has this lovely little what do you call it? A vintage kind of staining look on here. It is so nice. So nice. And Dion, thank you. Thank you so much to those of you who've been buying from our sticker shop. Just so you know, the stickers, when they get ordered now, they get taken care of immediately. They have a very, very fast turnaround. Mark is very, very good about turning those orders around. He likes to get them out into the mail pronto. If he can get them like out that day, the day he gets the order, he does everything he can to get them out the door the day he gets the order. So we are very, very grateful to our customers. So thank you very much to everyone who supports our sticker shop. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Let us continue our journey here. Here's something that I'm loving about this paper and this girl. This crepe paper has this fantastic little tinge of like blue, almost like it's accidental. It's like this weird kind of fade right here and here. So her dress gets picked up very subtly in it. It's fantastic. And also I tend to leave this little strip down here just because I love it. I don't know if how most people feel about the strip at the bottom if they normally cut that off. I tend to leave all of it. I love it. I try to craft with the whole strip, even the backside with the little UPC symbol. I didn't used to, but I think I've developed a love for it. I just think it's quirky and I like quirky. So hi Miss Wendy. Okay, so now, in general, I generally love a honey who's off to the side, even to the point where I'll like, as you guys know, I'll hack off an arm if I have to. I really like a honey that feels like she's kind of like off to the side. I feel like it makes it seem a little bit more dynamic. I may not have to get that violent with it today, so I'm going to leave it right there. But my thought was, I do not know how, this is a very geometric pattern, so I do not know if it'll be able to handle putting other designs. So we'll have to see. If not, I'm going to switch it to a more subtle pattern that will not have as big a problem with taking on other designs. And I will show you what I mean. So my thought was to put some strips with her and kind of build a little a foundation to put my quote on. And also to add a little bit more color and enhance, like, which is why I kind of wanted a neutral background. But I need to see what's going to happen, if that's going to be way too much contrast with this paper, which it's already starting to feel that way. So let me flip it over and see what happens. So I feel like with that paper, it blends right in. Part of the creative process, which is why I love paper so much, love this, is just this. It's the play. It's the play of using paper and pattern. This is why I have so much of the same stuff is because I never get tired of these patterns. I have literally had this paper has been in my collection for probably 8 to 9 years. I'm not even exaggerating, maybe even longer. This stuff, I know for a fact this collection is so old. This is like when we first started getting Listers Got a List kits. And I bought that was my first time buying a pack of 25 sheets from American Crafts when I found out that they still had it in stock. And I got a reseller's license. I was like, can I just buy a ton of like the same paper from you? When I found out I was able to do that, that's what I did. And that's why I still have it all these years later, and I love it. I have still not got tired of it. Um, so yes, that is why you tend to see use the same papers, and I love crepe paper. Now I can't say that I love them as much now. I think their style has dramatically changed, but their the classic vintage style that they had was very. I think all of us vintage lovers definitely had a thing for them. Them in October Afternoon were very unique in the market for a very long time, and then they kind of started changing to a more that more kind of illustrated look, and that just became more normal. I feel like a lot of people kind of did that similar style, and it just didn't feel as special to me. Aw, thanks, Vanessa. I I have a little bit of my paper in my collection. I don't want to really use much of it because it's such a obviously a unique the little Reset Girl collection that I have. I did I do I don't know if we still do, but I do think we might. I was selling some of the Simple Stories Reset Girl um, stuff that I still had in our stock. We did have that in the store. It was like anything we had, like this not tabs, the die cuts, the cards, anything that I still had that I had been like hoarding. We just went ahead and tried to price it really good so that people would feel inspired to buy it. Um, so here's what I was thinking is I would kind of build a little. So I feel like there's a lot of the same color going on here. I need some green. This this one tends to be my go-to. Okie dokie. Okay. So with something like this, I would take one of these wider pieces like this one right here, this blue one or this brown one, and it's wide, it's like tall enough that I could put a phrase on here. Like I'll give you an example. Like I could put it on here and put it like right there so it would stand out and there would be words on here. Or okay, this is too tall. It's as tall as that. So this is not a good example. It's not a good example now. Maybe this one. So I'd put it right there off to the side, or I don't know if I'd want to put it on her body, but maybe right there. I don't feel like that's strong enough. I feel like when things are offset, they stand out better. But I feel like the best one is this one where it covers both. I feel like that one really stands out the most. So this would have words on it. So it'd be a short one, a little short phrase. So this would be something for sure you would want kind of close up where you were like, if I was sitting at my desk, it would be like right here at my eyesight. Like I'm sitting, 2 feet away. That's so I could still read what that said. Another way of doing it is not to have a background at all and just put the words directly on the whole little sheet of whatever I decide, and then just make that a whole message on that. That's really cute, actually. Um, So that would be another option, is just printing it directly to like white paper or to my ledger paper. I have a full sheet of this type of paper and running it through the printer. Um, you could do that. That would be an option. Running some kind of cool vintage paper through the printer, um, or just a plain white paper, and then you could do like a little doodly line around it. So whatever message I'm going to put there, I'll leave. I won't show that on camera because I want that to be a surprise to my. If I go with this one, if I pick this one, I don't want anyone to see what that is. So I really like that. So this is so fun, is the building of the kind of like layout and picking all of the colors. And it's kind of fun because it's like what your eye, sometimes it's what your eye wants to see. It's like you keep looking at it. And thanks for signing up, Kathleen. Kathleen has rejoined the clubhouse. Happy to have you back. So, so here, putting this is from I don't know if this is the Reset Girl. No, it's not. There's a similar one. They did one under the Reset Girl that was like this, and then they had their own. So here's an example of keeping this on here, which I think is really cool because it has the word days and it just is kind of fun. So like that would be an example of why I would keep the strip on the bottom. I love the font that they use. It is fantastico. So there would be an example of like how fun that looks. That is very yummy to me. So it's just a continually fun game of like playing around and with this. Too much. If things don't fit, I'll start cutting stuff, which is also an option. Is just to cut the paper down. If I don't have the right piece or the right strip size, is like they don't have to stay in these sizes. Like I love this color, but that's the wrong piece. So approximately that. If you guys, is anybody working on a project that they brought? Because that was one thing I said, hey, if you got a project to work on, bring your project because this will be some fun, concentrated time to work on a project, yo. Is anyone choosing to do that? There's no shame if you're not, but I would just be curious. You could share with the group what you're working on. Do. Okay, so I'm still working through my little box of strips. Is this strips? So here's an example of one of the little tools that I make. Since we're talking about paper crafting, I have these little photo boxes, these little clear boxes that are designed to organize your photos. And I have them full of different types of paper that I've cut. And this particular one is full of strips of paper. And these strips are just really kind of like organically cut. They're not really, when I say organic, they're not like well cut. They're kind of irregular. They're not designed, I wasn't trying to make them perfect or anything like that. I want them to be, because as you can see, I want them to have a kind of hand made nature to them. I don't want them to look perfect. That one's cute, Sunny Days. Then I have one called Bits, and this is what happens after you start punching and you have a bunch of scraps left over. But sometimes scraps have really interesting bits and pieces to them. Like this is kind of more of a strip. Sometimes bits are actually strips. So just going through here, like here's a little square of like ripped ledger. and ripped edges are so delicious. This one has this little tiny white stitching left in it, which is really fun. So these are things I would not want to toss because they can be repurposed and used in a grid or this is collage as far as I'm concerned. It's just a paper collage. And you know what? You don't even have to paste any of this down. You could just play with paper just for fun, just testing your skills and seeing what you like. This could just be an exercise of like, I'm just going to practice what I like. What do I have an eye for? What do I see? And also it can give you an idea of like, what am I missing in my paper collection? Just looking at this, trying to see, I think this is a Simple Stories paper. Margaret says she's organizing her crafting. I know a couple of you said that some of you feel like organizing your craft supplies can feel like you're actually crafting, which is funny. I don't disagree with that statement. I could definitely make the same argument that sometimes touching and playing with your craft supplies can feel like you're doing something. All right, so I'm gonna cut a strip of this. I haven't really decided what I want to do with this big gap right here, so I'm just gonna put something. So the point of doing this is like I want to find this. I'll know I'm done when I look at this as a finished thing and say that is delicious to my eyes. That is yummy. I really like the look of it. I love the composition. I love, the way the colors all look together. I don't like that. I wonder if I would like this better. No. Sometimes, like this paper right here, the reason why I'm trying to keep it, and I probably may not be able to, is because it has these numbers. This is actually one of our printables. It's got these little stamped numbers in it. The problem is this yellow right here is very deep. It's like a fall. It's like a fall yellow. It's a very deep one. This one is not as deep. It's a little brighter, and it plays well with these. So it's a little bit more playful, a little bit more brighter, lighter, and I can get away with using it for this project. This one is not playing as well. So like I could add that one and it would look fantastic. If I try and play with that, it doesn't, these feel like they're clashing and they're not playing well. So this one is the problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this right after this little piece here. Ooh, Lisa, that sounds like fun. A file folder book you made. Fun, fun, fun. Jamie says, I'm finishing up the winter portion of the Season of Faith pages. Jamie, I just found mine. I actually had completed that. Janice says, I purchased a boatload of dies, organizing per genre. Okay. So, what it seems like is I need a bigger base right here. I need something to kind of fill in this gap. What needs to be here? Something not that color. Oh, I have another question for you guys. Another poll question. And this is another question I asked ladies in the clubhouse, but a lot of you have could give me feedback because a lot of you have been in the community long enough that you have experienced these things. I am debating back and forth in my head. I am contemplating doing a makeover on two events I have done in the past that I love both of them for different reasons. One of them was the Harmony Retreat, and one of them was the Camp Reset 2018. If you guys recall Camp Reset 2018, it had that big printable, hang on a second. I'm going to see. I have it. I'm just trying to see where I put it. Okay. I have it right here. I just need to find the cover. I have multiple covers on this. Is that the cover? That's not the cover. Okay, I think this is the cover, I think. All right. So this was Camp Reset 2018, and this is the one where you got this really big giant art journal, and I designed this little book, and if this is ringing a bell or bringing back memories, I didn't earn many badges, and I made my own little dividers and everything. So this was a really self-care. They're both very self-care. And this camp was still very self-care focused. And this was kind of our project. And I recall this one being so fun because I did all of these fun little art, like it was very art journally, and it had this big book with these big pages. And I really loved the live streams. I recall very clearly doing a lot of these on camera. When I was looking through this, I was like, oh, I remember this. There's Lister's Got a List. And I didn't do everything. There's the art journaling one. Do you guys remember this? I do. There's my girl with the petal skirt. This is when I used a little punch and I made all these little petals for her. And this was like like a aerosol shampoo. It was like this foam shampoo for her. And I made all of these fun pictures from a catalog. And I just remember how much I loved doing this. And it was a lot of fun. So I was just thinking if I did a makeover to any of my events, it would be, and I'm not saying it would be a complete makeover. It would both Harmony and the 2018 Camp Reset would have, they may still have like the original, there'd be probably some original content would stay. I would just use some of it. I don't know. I'm not sure how it would all work, but I'm just saying. Um, what your thoughts? What would you vote for if you could have Harmony to experience, or if you could have the Camp Reset 2018? That is the question. That is a vote. Okay, so I'm still playing around with this, trying to see. Somehow it helps to see it back in the camera better than it is like sitting right here in front of me. Hmm. Angie says I didn't start until camp. Hi, Miss Lacey. How are things in Nova Scotia? Because you know what? Hey, Jenny B. Um, Sabina says she loved them both. A lot of you girls came into the Reset Girl around the time of Camp Reset, the first Camp Reset. So if you recall, Camp Reset 2017 was it was a little bit messy. because it was kind of put together very last minute. And it was very different. How I executed it was you got mailed everything, you were emailed every week, you were given your materials, and it was free. So every week you were given your materials and you would put together I think the format was you would either put together a traveler's notebook or I think it was like an A5 journaling thing. I think that was your options of how the printables were given to you. And then I would do like a live stream every now and then. All I know, it was such a mess because Mark and I, we didn't have a house. We had just moved into the RV, so we were like sleeping in our office secretly, and oh my gosh, and we were taking showers over at my friend Heather's house. So it was very messy. Like it was just our lives were kind of in shambles. I had just lost my father. So the whole execution of it was just it was kind of looking back, it is very funny how I chose to launch something like that in the time that I did, but I have no regrets that I did because it was such a phenomenal it was such a phenomenal achievement for me. I loved Camp Reset when I did it in 2018, which is why I'm pointing to this one. I think the execution was so much better and I loved it. It became the foundation of all the camps that came later. So it became the better version, and how it lived on a website. It had proper videos, it was just done better. And I just really have a lot of nostalgia for that particular book. I made it myself, even though I'm not a designer, but I'm getting there. I'm going to be a designer. So it was a lot of fun. But just when I think back to the first one, trying to do a live stream sitting in front of a sheet, you could just see my head and nothing else. It was just not my best work. But it was free, so I don't know that you could complain very much, right? That's what happens when you do your worst work for free. Um, but my heart was there. I mean, I wished it would have been better. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like I tried to be terrible on purpose, but I know that it was really helpful to a lot of people, which was my hope. I wanted caring about yourself to be, what the focus. And so that's what's kind of making me think about the Reset Girl and all this all over again, because I was just thinking, that really was a big part of my message. And, and I think there's a way to do it that it's not really like, I think self-care has kind of gotten a little crazy. Can we agree? It's gotten really crazy. The message has gotten kind of hijacked and turned into like hyper consumerism. That's not really what I intend with it. And I'd like to try to come back to what I was trying to do, which is make it about creativity and kind of having, peace of mind and just having like have quiet time with yourself and, you know, pretend you're at imaginary camp. That's kind of what I was trying to say. Okay. Okay. I think I solved that problem. I put this little teeny tiny little stamp off to the side that I really wanted to use, and I just discovered it. So I think that works out good. Okay, I think I really like that. Okay, so what I was trying to do was get this girl. I'm trying to think of how this is going to look because I'm going to put this. It's going to get put in such a way that it's going to have a white border around it. So I know you're looking at it and it's kind of in this weird dynamic because it's like being put in the corner of the page, but I'm going to crop it digitally after I'm done. I'm going to put text on it like a white text block, and I'm going to get it all hammered out. I'm going to add the rest of the little embellishments, and then I'm going to add the text to it, I think digitally. So I'm going to put her down. Oh, goodness. I don't mean it like that. She's like, these poor honeys, they just take so much abuse, my language towards them. There's a little hair on this desk. Well, thank you, Miss Angie. Thank you, Lacey. It's so nice to see Miss Bonnie. It's so nice to see so many faces, Sabina, and that I have Margaret have not seen in so long. Pamela, Sue, hey Chris, and Shelly, what did you just say? I'm going through my 2018 Camp Reset Handbook right now. Aw. See, a lot of you ladies you really do appreciate making all of the things, right? And I think that is what I was trying to say. When I put on a camp or a retreat, it gives you that kind of like, at least it does in my imagination. So please tell me if I'm wrong, because this is what I this is what I labor so hard for. In my mind, I am imagining that I am doing this little labor of love because I am giving you this reprieve, this little excuse to yourself, to your family. I remember you guys telling me about how you put the little door hanger on your doors and you warn your family ahead of time, I'm going to camp. so so it's like this, it's mom's time. I remember getting like comments and little emails like you forewarn your family that it's camp time, and that you kind of prep everyone ahead of time that you're doing this. And so that really, I took that to heart, that's what I was doing, was helping ladies have this time, that this would become a no guilt. I'm setting this time aside where I'm going to be doing these little projects. I'm at make believe camp. I am doing this intentional work to get in touch with my little, I know this sounds funny, but I'm getting in touch with my little 12-year-old self. And honestly, I do tend to, I do more and more, I do tend to think about that. I think about how, my 12-year-old self would have really appreciated a lot of things about these little camps, because I was a very awkward little kid, and I was very afraid of meeting girls. I was very leery of girls because I was saw how mean they could be. So I was very afraid to make friends with other girls. I didn't trust other girls, to be honest with you. So it has been the joy of my life as a grown-up girl to be in this little online community and to have these fun experiences. And it has been a lot of fun in our little online universe to have these little memories and stuff that we have done. So it brings my heart so much joy to see girls all over the world be able to say, like, I enjoyed this camp and I got to do this, and I never got to go to camp as a little girl, so this is was fun. I still have my handbook. To me, that's an incredible accomplishment. That's something, I'm really proud of. So I tend to think of, I'm giving you that reason to push yourself, to make time for yourself, to do the little exercises. With Camp Reset, there was literal exercise. I did encourage you to go for walks. There was healthy sips and snacks. It wasn't, the other camps I did later, I didn't put as big an emphasis on that. So this one was more self-care. It was definitely more like move it. There was more like, let's get into the kitchen and make ourselves stuff. So I kind of missed that, because I noticed in the clubhouse we have a happy homemakers group, and it's probably one of my favorite places in the clubhouse. I love the homemakers group, because I am now making that a big part of my my day, is trying to do more homemaking things, being more cognizant of trying to balance my home life better than I ever was before. So yeah, I'm trying to be a proper wife these days. So it's kind of it's just funny, this season I have moved into has made me gravitate towards other things, and that's made me think about camp and how it was very oriented to really taking care of your whole self. And I just thought, hey, both of them were. I would kind of make Harmony less wintry because I really want it to be evergreen if I put that much effort into it again. Um, Margaret, my husband, is this the same group you did the Little People project with? That's right, Margaret. You got to join a group that actually put all of those little people to work to justify giving them life. That's how he remembers it, I'm sure. Margaret, do you have the A-frame cabin? I'm pretty sure you do. I'm going to sell my A-frame cabin and all the extra stuff that I have with it. I'm going to list that back on Etsy, not Etsy. Well, maybe Etsy. I have the box and everything. I got a version of it that came with the box. And what else did I get? It was the complete set too. It was a really good. The owner had everything, but I've bought so many extra things that came with it since then. So I'm going to be selling it. Uh, Bonnie says my mini me's are all around me as we speak. Yes, I did, Kathleen. I got the little bus for them too. Yeah, I think I've kind of gotten all of the use for it that I can out of it. I photographed it a lot. So I think I've gotten used and I should probably sell it because it's not doing me any good keeping it in a little bin. Um, and I don't have room for it here and where I'm. Okay, I'm just going to test what this is going to look like here. I just want to see how much. I don't know if I can see through this paper at all. Okay. I think that looks good. Okay. So now that I have that, I am going to add a little bit of okay. So with photography, there are certain things I can't use on here because they do not photograph well. And one of them is some of the gold, the gold foil stuff does not photograph well, but the glitter does. So that is what we're going to use. I'm going to put my little favorite little stars. I'm going to put some fun little random goodies. This is the stuff I love. This is the frosting. Okay, so let me see what I got. I got a bunch of random little circles, like little tiny punch circles. I have, what time is it? I'm running out of time. I might not be able to finish this on camera. So how I get these little tiny stars, these little glitter stars, is I use this little piece of glitter paper, and I use a little star punch like this, and I fill a little container of the little stars. That is how I achieve that, which I love. Okay, so I'm going to grab this one. I'm just going to grab them. I don't know that I'll use them, but I like the colors. I'm just trying to see if there's anything weird and random in this. Let me show you what I'm looking at. I'm looking in my paper punch buffet. Ooh, there's a letter B. There's a pair of glasses from the Reset Girl collection. I just have intentionally weird things in here. These are my little Reset Girl. Ooh, shine your light, amazing girl. I think I want to use that. Okay, so I think there's no purpose to this letter F other than I just think that looks fun. Hey, I'm going to be hanging this on my wall. So if you are a pillar member, whatever message I end up with here, we will be twinsies. Hopefully this will light your little world up. I don't like things right in the middle. I like things being off, like offset. I call it offset. I don't know if that's the right word, but I like things being off to the side. I just think that is so much more interesting. When you put something right in the center, it just feels a little meh. Another thing I wanted to do, and I think that I want to do it, is go back and rescue. There's in Camp One Craft, I did a series called Layering 101, and I want to go back and pull those videos out of there and then I want to do a workshop of talking about these principles of like how to set things up, because that was something people really enjoyed, was that series, and I want to do a fuller series on that, is just talking about design, how to the design principles, and how to do a layout, how to choose colors, how do you cluster things together to get the most out of it. Hey, Sherry Davis. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Okay, so we're putting kind of so I'm going to put one there. So I got these. These are Japanese. I got these so long ago. But what I found is they're all like little individual stickers, and they are such a pain to try to get the little backings off of. So I never ever use them. They're too dark. I have like all these fun bright colors going on, and these are too dark. So I will not be using those. Ooh, I just thought of something. I have another little collection of goodies. If you guys got the curated with the curated kits by Cori, this is from the little Tokyo kit that I did. These little fun little strips. I have these are really fun. Ooh, these are perfection. Let's use one of these. When I saw these, I was like, oh, where have you been my whole life? These are amazing. I should do another one of those. Those were fun. Let me see. Ooh, maybe I should let me see if I can move this bee without hurting it. Yes, I can. Now, the reason why I did that was to move this. Please tell me that doesn't look weird. I think I can get away with it. Jamie says, yes, I would love that series, Layering 101. I'll have to come up with another word, a name for it. But yes, that series was a lot of fun. Until I actually did it, I didn't realize how much fun it was going over all of it. And then I thought, you know what? There is so much more to say about this subject. There's a lot of people who don't realize, like, they don't know what you don't know until, like, why does this look better here than there? Once you understand the principles of like the principle of thirds, why do things look a certain way to your eye and others? Why do we put things in threes? Why does that look better to us? Why does your eye like things a certain way? There's a reason why. There's a reason why certain colors look look good together. There's a reason why certain patterns look good together and some patterns don't. And there's things that, you may not have considered about trying new things. And if you just understood some of the principles behind them, I know one of the, and that's definitely not to say that I'm an expert or know all the things, but I think I have taken, graphic design classes as part of my degree program. So I feel like there are some things that I know technically, but I also know just, like some people, you know things. Maybe I don't know how to explain it to you on the technical level, but I can explain it to you as like a layperson because I just know what looks good. Like this is why it looks good to me. And then maybe if I explain it to you as another layperson, that would make sense to you. And it doesn't matter that we're not designers or we're not, like we're not experts. It's just, hey, we're two women that really like paper, and that makes sense to me why you're doing that. Honestly, that was the biggest reason why I never crafted or really did a lot because I didn't understand how they were doing what they were doing. All you would see is a finished layout, and I could not comprehend how did they know where to put the pieces? How were they making those decisions? How were the pieces being put in the right order? Like I couldn't figure that out. Therefore, I would not try. So, when I finally started in a planner, that was easy because a planner is sort of like it's like a bunch of boxes and you just fill in the boxes. I'm using one of my favorite little pieces, which is the little ruffle. This little texture is so fabulous. So that was like a safe place to kind of like experiment because like all I have to do is fill in this little box, but I'm going to fill it in with scrap paper and a honey. And so that's what gave me my foundation was I'm going to use a planner to start creating in. And then I didn't need the planner anymore. I moved on to like a free, like a book, just using a book. And then we started using the playbook and that's, and then I was willing to try a junk journal and other things. So um, I didn't know that I could do a lot of the things that I've done. And I had no idea I was capable of doing things. And I think that's probably true for a lot of you is you don't realize it because you haven't given yourself enough time to try. Here's another one of the curated kits, the little cafe sketch. For those of you who bought these, thank you. They were so much fun to put together, those little kits. Okay, I'm looking for a lot of the stuff in here is organized by colors and stuff. I was just trying to see if there was any ephemera that I could use that would fill in any gaps. Here's another one I could use. So either it's going to go on here, which is the tallest space to put text. That one, I think I'm going to put this on because it's going to give me the best contrast for this little piece here. Ooh, I think what I'll do is this. I think I'll put it up high like that. Isn't that fun? Jen says her science brain hasn't been trained in why she likes things. Indeed, it's very interesting, isn't it, Jen? But yet there is a reason why your brain does like stuff, why our eyes like stuff. And once you see it, like you'll notice those patterns are in nature. It's like our brains have been wired to somebody wired our brains to like what we like. Very interesting. All right, I haven't done this in so long I forget how to do it. Okay, let me see. I think I put a little bit of glue on there. All right, here come the stars. Okay, so where should I put these? So I think the first one, the rule of thirds is at least with my little embellishments, I love to put my stars in groups of 3. That's not the rule of thirds, by the way. I love these little stars so much. I feel like when I do a little project, a lot of times they don't feel complete unless I have the stars. But then I'm like, does everything I make need the stars? Is that overkill? It's kind of like the honey. It's like, just put a honey on it. Just put a layering strip on it. Odd, quirky, it's everything I love. So being eclectic and mismatched, uh, that can be such a strength because then nothing has to match, right? And that means you don't have to have all the matching pieces to a kit. It's a great way of using things up. Do you remember that fun game that we used to play of like, help me use all the gold letters? I remember when I had that sticker sheet of gold letters and I was always trying to make a word so I could use it all up. What's today? The 14th. April 14th, 2024. Okay, I'm going to attempt. Hopefully, I don't mess all this up. Please don't mess this up, Cori. Okay, where's the sample paper? I don't trust myself. Knowing me, I'll stamp it upside down or something. You guys have seen a lot. you've, you've seen a lot of my work, so I'm definitely not. Okay, I think this is going to fit. There we go. It's not perfect, but very little that I make is perfect. So there's that. And then it would not be complete unless I had a little strip. So speaking of our inner 12-year-old, this was my favorite possession as a 12-year-old was my little Dymo label maker. Oh, my Lanta. And I'm going to be so sad when I've used up all of my Dymo label tape. Okay. This Dymo label tape, I'm sure I've told you guys this story many times, came from a eBay seller in Hawaii. And it's like, I don't know, 25, 30 years old, and it still sticks. Wait, if it's what year is it? It's 2024. So no, it's even older than that. The box was dated 1984. That's 40 years. Oh, my Lanta. And it's still sticky. Although I do tend to put paste on it just as a precaution because, you know, just in case. Because I don't want anything to happen to it. It's precious. Once I've used it all up, that's it. It's this fantastic wood grain original Dymo label tape. Okay, so this little Dymo label tape says Love Cori. So that's going on there because that's going out with love. Hopefully that is not offensive that I just put my just put that on the artwork. I didn't even think about that. Okie dokie. Ah, Michelle Spencer, the date of her first day with Mr. Spencer 16 years ago. Well, apparently he was a keeper. Okay. And I didn't see you sneak in, Miss Michelle Spencer. Mrs. Michelle Spencer. Hey, Miss Jonna. Okay. Hey, Miss Penny. All right, all right. Are we close? Are we close? Okay, so my love Cori is way down here. This is down here. I feel like there's a little bit more. What time is it? Oh, it's 3 o'clock. Oh my goodness, it's 3 o'clock. This is when I said I would be done. But, all right. I gotta wrap it up. Gotta wrap it up. Gotta wrap it up. Oh man. I just realized this would be so epic. All right. I should have well, I'm going to put the date on this. So yeah, it's going to be dated twice. Oh, no, wait. How about this? How about this? Which one is this? Okay, hang on. Do I have the reset girl? I do. No, I don't. Rats. What kind of stamps do I have? That's a date stamp. All right, I'm looking for a stamp. I need my glasses, the other glasses with the readers. Why was I not using my readers this whole time? I can see so much better. Can't believe I was doing all that risky crafting without that. Okay. Okay. I need to find a good I'm looking for a good thing to I love you lots. Oh, well, I do. So, okay. I want to make sure this looks like something is on here. So let me use my okay. So we have these adorable little tabs in our shop. Just saying. Yes, our live stream is brought to you by the Reset Girls shop. So it's a legit promo here. Here's my stamp pad. Didn't I just have it? So these are all these fun little tabs that I never released. I never released them. They have gold foil and everything. So there's like a full set of two different styles. One of them is in Adored, if you guys remember that collection. And then another one is in Meaningful. They are two of my favorite collections. They are absolutely fantastic. They're professionally manufactured. So they have the gold foil, that really thick, delicious cardstock. Heather says she has a bunch of those tabs. Oh, fantastic. They are very pretty. They are really well made. Um, I wish I could have had my Bible tabs made. Dang it. I thought how did I misplace my little stamp pad? Man, I'm good. I've Ella Kazammed that right out of existence. Okay, so I love you lots. We're going with the new stamp pad. I don't even know if this one works. Huh? Are you guys remembering the good old days where I'm just like haphazard, don't know what I'm doing? Okay. I love you lots. We'll do a little double, triple. Okay. This is going at the top of my. Luckily, there's a little staple on this particular tab, so it looks like it's stapled because that's another favorite of mine is that staple look. But it's a little hard to get that look going here because I'm crafting on this giant sheet, which I do not ever normally do. Have you guys ever seen me craft on a giant sheet? I don't know that I've ever crafted on a giant sheet on camera. It's not ringing the bell. Okay. So that's the tippy top of that. And then this is where the text is going to go. Okay. I want to it's like I'm getting too like anxious to blitz everything out with the glitzy stuff. I feel like I gotta hold myself back a little bit, but then do I though? Do I? I have been restraining myself for months, restraining myself. So perhaps I am entitled to a little splits. Okay, let me see if there's anything in here. I have such a variety. This is my original paper punch buffet. It's probably got stuff in here from years. Years. Ooh, these are the tabs I used to punch by hand. Now I have professional tabs, but I still have my little previous tabs. Do you remember my first, you know what, that is actually the very first, if I recall correctly, I believe that's the very, okay, maybe I think it's the first late night crafty club. If it's not the first, it's the second, is the paper punch buffet. Isn't that funny? I don't know why I have this little football fuzzy, but the shape is all wrong for this, so I will not be using that. Okay, so now I'm pulling out even smaller pieces here. I have little teardrops, little petals, I should say. I have little squares. These are when I get really tiny. Like I use my tiny punches to make even smaller shapes. And you might be wondering, why are you using these little tiny pieces? And I would say it's because I am looking at some of these smaller little spaces and I'm just trying to decide if I need to kind of fill in anything. Okay. Does that enhance anything? It does not. Does that help? No. Does it finish it? No. So I might have my answer. It is not really bringing anything to the table. Nope. Nope. So I think I might have a finished piece. I think that's it. I think that's it. Now the question is, does she need anything over here? I think if I pulled me, I'm just testing this. I just want to see if any other shape over here looks weird. Mm-hmm. The answer is yes. That looks weird to me. But you should always try. Okay. Okay. These are my little diamonds. These little diamonds are ridiculous. They're so cute. They would take a million years if I attempted to put them together on this huge sheet. Can I show you guys something? This is a prototype. I'm going to be heavily editing this, but we're making a diamond version of our little gumball sheet the journaling essentials gumballs that we sell. This is the diamond version. Hello. I can't wait. But there's a lot of red in it, so I have to do some editing. Anyway, so I will have like these are the baby diamonds, and then those are like the mama diamonds. So my little journaling essentials empire will be complete. Yes. Okay, so just checking my last little box. See, look, here's an example of what I meant. See, one of those little Dymo labels got away one day, and I found it on the floor. Tags, because I used them to label these little plastic boxes, and they popped right off. So I had to tape them down. Okay, so another thing. Can I just show you this really fast? These little pieces, when I do all my punching, I keep the pieces where I punched them out of because the little negative spots. Can I just show that to you? Look how neat that piece is. Isn't that fun? That's a piece you can craft with. If I had known I had it in there, I may have chosen to use it. Like, that's a really fun piece for crafting. It just has like a unique little, a unique viewpoint all on its own. You can see it better when you put it on something dark. So isn't that cool? So I I'll even keep these because who knows? You could end up using them. Here's a little strip of gold stars. I don't know if you can see that very well. Yeah. So that becomes a fun little strip that you can use. So even these little scraps I keep in my paper scrapping surprise supplies. Wow. Okay, show's over, everybody. I have lost the ability to speak. Okay, we have reached the end of our journey. I have gone over 10 minutes, so I've already become a liar. Looking again at the wrong camera. Okay, so I did it 10 minutes over, but still. So that's going to be my goal, 2-hour shows for the creative reset. Some of it will be a little bit talking, a little bit of a lesson to a little bit of, not lesson, I'm not a teacher, but a, a little bit of this encouragement, a little bit of like, let's talk practical talk about getting ourselves going in a creative way. Now, I can't make you, obviously. But what I hope is that if you at least watch, that if we continue on this way enough, and even if you can't watch live, but you watch as a replay, eventually you might, finally say to yourself, self, I want to do what she's doing. She's right. We need to be more disciplined with our time or with our resources or with whatever. I really do want to express myself creatively. I need to, whatever ABCD thing is holding you back, I need to get over that. That's what you'd be saying to yourself. So, so that is, that's something that I hope that way I don't have to, I don't want to feel like I'm bapping you over the head every time we talk, because that's absolutely not what I want anyone to feel. I want people to feel inspired when they walk out of here. So, and I also want you to feel like, hey, it's the creative reset. So it's a good time to like plan that time, Cori's settings time on the calendar. That will be my time for creating. So when you see this pop up again on the calendar, say to yourself, self, this is that thing she said when she said, it's on the calendar. I will set my time for that and say, I'm going to show up to that and I'm going to use that time to create. I will not be just sit there and watch consumer. I'll sit there and produce and create. That's an option, just saying. Now you can sit and watch. I have no problem with that. You bring yourself something to sip, get comfy, watch to your heart's content. But you can also create. And I would love that. And then you could tell me in the chat room what you worked on, because this is that time. So that's my vision for the creative reset. We're going to talk a little bit about something in the milieu of creating. I'm going to create something because I want to use it for my, my own discipline of creating, because I really want to always be honing and using that time to talk about creating and what I'm doing. And maybe there's something like, I love talking about what I'm doing. It's fun. It's fun talking out what I'm saying and, like not what I'm saying, what I'm, doing. It's good for me too. It keeps me sharp. So it's making you. And when you start doing it, you'll find yourself thinking about what you're doing. Why am I doing this? What do I like about this? I want you to do that. Start thinking of yourself as a creator, a designer. I am a paper designer. I make paper art, Let's elevate this a bit. So, and then stuff I love will become the lucky dip for those who are pillar members. So pillar members, there's not a surprise. I thought I was going to be able to churn out multiples, but maybe, but still, there'll be a surprise message. So I hope you like it. And I love her, but we're going to be twinsies because I'm going to have her up on my wall with something encouraging and positive because that's what we need more of. Encouraging and positive, filling up our little bucket with encouragement and positivity, right? Thank you, Miss Donna. That's very sweet. So I just want to say this was just such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful comeback. Far more than I deserve. You guys are too good to me because I have been incredibly neglectful and I felt really weird about just coming back. I'm like, I don't know, are they going to be mad at me? Because I just feel like you have always been such a supportive and wonderful, sweet audience, have just been nothing but wonderful. And I just had no explanation and just abandoned my channel for so long. And I just even felt weird posting my little creative reset um, invite. So without, I didn't want to belabor and spend too much time doing that whole YouTuber thing where everyone explains their whole life story. So I'm just glad you're here, and thank you so much for making time in your day to be here, and welcome aboard the Creative Reset series and back in the Reset Girl channel. I am just very grateful that you're here, and I will continue as creativity sparks me and brings, and I find things to be. I want to really be joyful about the things I do on this channel. That is what I want to do. So I am not sure how often I will be doing this. It is very much when you see the creative reset, it is a bat signal type of announcement for the time being. I'm not sure, like, I don't know. I want to really go by, am I excited to do the next thing? Because I very well could be. You might see another one next week or 2 weeks. I really want to go by joyfulness, excitement. I really want it to feel like that and not feel like have to. None of us should be doing have to with our creativity. Let's make it be about joyfulness because it should be the one thing that we have. That's like, that we hug and kiss and love and pet and call George. So, right. So yes. So let's all of us just really be so grateful, be really grateful that you're a maker and a creator, that you love making with your hands, that you have a little inner kid that always loved this, that's who you are. Be very grateful for that. And I hope that you will come back, even if you watch in the replay club. You are always welcome to do that, my fellow playmate and craftmate. And I will be looking for responses to my Harmony versus Camp Reset 2018 because that will be the priority of projects that I look at for the future. And so thank you for all your support with our sticker store. Thank you for the support with joining membership, anyone who's rejoined, and thank you for coming back to the Reset Girl. But I will be back on this channel and making content. So I love you guys so much. Thank you. You guys are the best. And now I'm going to sail out of here with my little cup overflowing and I'm going to go in there to Mr. Crafty and just feel like the luckiest woman in the world and just be in a whole glow the rest of the day because you guys are really awesome. So thank you very much. And I will see you guys very, very soon. So bye, everybody. Bye. Goodbye. Bye, everybody.